What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. It is the 24th day of November, and here we are at about $0.00541 right now with 9 hours and 14 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Yesterday, we were theorizing that we could go below 205 again before returning to the upside. We do think that we're going to return to the upside, and we're hoping that this is the low. But this downside over the past couple days is not necessarily to be unexpected. We were hopeful at the highs, but then after a few hours it became obvious what was going to happen here. Plus, if we look at the 1 hour time frame on Coinbase, this is not a 100% guarantee, and you should not use this as your end all be all TA secret sauce. But typically, where there's a gap, which there is right there at this price, you see that little gap. Typically for Coinbase, when there's a gap, you will see the price come back down and fill that gap. You typically find these on the 1 hour time frame. So, we were talking about it back here. Oh, cool. There are no gaps. We don't have to go back down. We did go down, but then here we moved back up. Unfortunately, we left a gap behind. We'll probably move down to about 0.052, if not even a little bit lower. Sometimes you fill that gap and then immediately pump. Oftentimes enough, you can go a little bit through the gap as well. So maybe we don't go quite below 0.005, but if we do, I'm not too worried about it, right? Something a little bit lower than where we are now, though. That's what I would expect. Let's look at the indicators and see what they're telling us, okay? Looking at the 1 hour RSI here, we are in a bit of a downtrend. Yes, you can see it. Lower lows, lower highs, right? Lower lows, lower highs. It would make sense that we go lower. It would make sense, but maybe not too much lower, but lower nonetheless, right? It's like, let's see, can we find, like, what would be the difference? This is a little bit further away from the oversold zone than where we are now. But what would be the difference between here and here, right? If we look at that in the price. Hopefully I'm not shooting myself in the foot here. Yeah, just a little bit lower, right? When you were here, going from 0.006 down to 0.056, that's really not that far away. And the result afterwards is not what we're expecting. We're expecting something a little bit more voluptuous, but a little bit lower. A little bit lower. Nothing crazy. The stochastics would actually disagree with the RSI, and that they would say that we're moving up higher right now, that we have higher to go right now. The MACD would also maybe agree with that idea, because you're about to cross green and you do have bullish divergence. I mean, maybe we do move up higher. You've got this lower high kind of trend coming in. Maybe we move up a little bit first and then we move down. I'm not convinced that we're ready to move above this high or see any kind of productive growth until perhaps we go a little bit lower. But again, just taking my own advice here, maybe we shouldn't just focus on this as the sole reason as to why we go lower. The RSI is kind of suggestive of it, but the MACD and the stochastics are not. Low to high here, you're bouncing right off the golden ratio. I mean, in all fairness, I guess there's a lot of sense to be made out of finding support here. And in all fairness, we did kind of wick back. If you look at this gap, is there even a gap there? We actually wicked back and filled the gap. Maybe we don't have to go down and fill the gap. That gap gave us the inclination up here that we'd go lower, but maybe it was a lie all along, because there is, you can see it clear as day, there's a wick right there that fills that entire gap. So maybe there is no gap at all, actually. And we're bouncing right off the golden ratio. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd like to redact it. This is where it's important to watch the whole video, because I'm not just going to remake the video. What I say in the beginning might be different than what I say at the end as we do analysis, right? I'm open to changing my mind if I see something that changes it. And this actually kind of makes me think that we might move up. The RSI, I was not thinking that we'd move up here looking at this, because typically with downward sloping trends like this, you resolve yourself in the oversold zone, which would imply a little bit lower. And maybe we do. Maybe we come up a little bit and we still go lower. So do, again, be aware that lower prices are possible, but at this point, I'd be surprised if we went below 0.052. I would be very surprised if we went below 0.005, because that's the 786 perfect area to bounce. So we're really not that far away from the low. If not, we are at the low right now. The stochastics very much do, and the MACD very much does make me think that we're at a low point, that we're going to move up higher, especially with the fact that we're at the relative golden ratio here. So that's kind of nice. Might today close green? We're down like 3% on the day. Might we close green? That'd be nice. Because what we're doing here is, we had a little bit of volume come in, a little bit of a breakout of this trend here. Now we're just back testing prior areas of resistance for support, prior support for support here. Right at the golden ratio. It's pretty damn perfect. A lot of volume on the way up, no volume on the way down. I don't know, man. We might be getting a bounce right here. From this high to this low, we went to the golden ratio. You wicked a little bit through it, but largely found resistance at the golden ratio. We take this high to this low, in comparison, the golden ratio here would be all the way up at 208. Let's just put a line right there, and we'll put a line at the 1272 and see if anything lines up with these areas. First and foremost, we can see the 1272 lines up very appropriately with these prior resistance points up here at about 0073. So that might be somewhere in this area would be our next kind of target that we're considering. If I'm wrong, I would imagine it's only because we moved higher, not because we stopped at a lower level, if I'm wrong. And maybe we stop at a lower level momentarily, but inevitably we'd come up here. You know what I mean? And then we consolidate again, and then we start to rally again. That'd be my thoughts. Maybe it looks exactly like this. Who knows? I don't know. Anyways, leaving those there, looking at the indicators, the RSI is a little bit below the 50, but you found support right here before. I mean, if we put a line right here, let's just see. You found support here moving up, found support here moving down, and resistance right here as well. Not really a whole lot of iterations where you found support back here. It happens, but it's not the most common area. You're below the 50. That's not a bad thing. I don't like the double top, but I do like the reaction afterwards. For a double top rejecting off the overbought zone, that's a pretty weak reaction off of this. Like normally you would just back down, and OnyxCoin loves to just pump and then dump right back down. So the fact that you haven't really done that is kind of nice as well. Don't get me wrong, you've pulled back a solid bit. I mean, from the high, what are you down right now? You're down about 22%. But you didn't go all the way back down. Looking at the stochastics, or the MACD, I'm sorry. Stochastics are at the oversold zone, perfect area to bounce, but the MACD crossed above the zero back here. And we know that typically whenever the MACD on the 4-hour time frame crosses above the zero, we expect to consolidate for about a day and a half to 3 days. Well, it's been 10 bars. That is over a day and a half. So now this next move, in theory, then should be bigger than the last move. That's my thoughts. From a low to a high, this next move, if that's the low, I mean, we might even go above this range. We might even go above this range because typically with these 4-hour MACD crosses above the zero, whenever you do this, you kind of consolidate for a day and a half or 3, and then you start to run. This next run, typically being the keyword, is bigger than the initial run. That'd be fun, right? What if we don't go into the primary target zone, but what if we go into the secondary target zone, which is between 0.0863 and 1 cent? That'd be nice. I'm not getting excited until we're above 1.4 cents personally. That's the level at which I get excited, when C-Zar starts to get real happy. Until then, we're just in this limbo phase where any pump that we get could dump to lower lows. It really could. It's possible. We don't have an established low yet. I want to say that this is the low, but I've never in my life called for a low on OnyxCoin. It's just never happened, right? We've been waiting. I don't know if I want to waste it here and say this is the low. That's a joke, of course, because we probably assumed that every single one of these lows at some point was a low. So again, I don't want to jinx it here by calling for the low. I'll be more confident about it once we're above like 1.4 cents personally. MACD gives me reason to believe that we move higher soon, but it doesn't have to be today. It could be tomorrow. It could be the next day. Stochastics bouncing off the oversold zone, that'd be a good enough reason as well. And the RSI, while it's not the best looking right now, the fact that you rejected this, you found a double top at the overbought zone, and you're having a very mild reaction, gives me hope that there is reason to bounce here. And again, you are finding support at prior resistance right here, so take it for what it is. Daily time frame, bullish divergence is playing out. We have lower highs, we have higher highs in the RSI, so hidden bearish divergence is playing out right now. Stochastics do look bullish. It's actually the most bullish reading we've had on the stochastics in a while. And I mean, technically, same thing on the MACD, to be fair. That's not saying much, though. A little bit of a double bottom on the MACD as well. I don't know. We found support here last time in the oscillators. We've got higher lows overall. It's a negative daily MACD. It's a negative daily RSI and stochastics, but there are signals here that we're looking frisky, that we do want to move higher. Rejecting the 50 typically promotes some troublesome price action. So if we're closing here today, or if we're around here, this is really not that troublesome, in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong, we rejected the 50, we dropped 20%. That's, I guess, troublesome in itself. But we're looking like we're not going down to the oversold zone here. We're looking like we might be finding support at the 40. You reject the 50, find support at the 40, typically you continue higher. Typically you do. And also on top of that, we're breaking out of this downtrend. It might make sense that we are forming some type of an uptrend. I guess if we're in an uptrend, it would make more sense to go lower. Again, I'm pretty convinced at this point, not a financial advisor, not a financial advisor, I'm pretty convinced that we don't go too much lower than today's low. We might not even go below it at all because that's the golden ratio. But if we do, it's okay. I'm pretty convinced that we don't go below here, right? I would think that we do find a higher low. The expectation right now is that we do move higher and that we will likely see something around 0.008 or higher in price. And if I had to guess, I would go with that or higher option. Let's just see. Let's pretend here that we're doing the grand retracement. It happens here. Why not? Why not? At the low here, prior resistance point there, prior resistance back here. On your Bitcoin chart, you have absurd bullish divergence building. Here you've gone to your 14141272 level. The next target area really to consider would be, yeah, about 0.008 to 0.009, probably closer to 0.009. And then once we're above about 1.2 cents here, I would say 1.4 cents, we're home free. But until then, the door is left open to go lower. The lowest I'd expect us to go if we do go lower would be 0.034. But time will tell. Anyways, I got nothing else for you guys. Thank you all for being here. If we're looking at our future projections as far as where we will go when we see new relative highs this cycle, the minimum target that I would expect from here would be something around 10 cents, 9.3 cents there. It's about a 17x. The maximum target might be about 21 cents, and that's about a 39x. My favorite part is whenever I talk about this part in the video, and then the trolls in the comments will say, haha, what happened to 26 to 32 cents? Well, 26 to 32 cents call here, 9 cent to 21 cent call here. You know, it's basically the same move, just from a lower point. So that's what happened, right? The whole market tanked. I think anybody's bullish calls are revised. They have to be revised. If not, I think it would be more silly to keep those calls 26 to 32 cents than to adjust them, because then we'd be measuring from here 26 to 32 cents. But that doesn't really make sense because we have this low over here. So with this and with how much further down we are right now, being at the base of this range, I think it's very appropriate to consider the primary target zone, the 1272 to the 1618, as a first kind of stopping point. We'll consolidate, we'll do our thing, and then we'll continue to rally going forward. I do believe OnyxCoin will see $1 price or more by the end of the cycle, which is pretty miraculous because we're only at half a cent right now. Anyways, I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next one. There was something I wanted to point out. Let's just see. Where's Onyx here? Let's see. Have you experienced issues with Onyx AI, Onyx Wallet, staking, Goliath testnet? Are you having any issues yourself? Let them know on the official Onyx account. So here you can let them know. Or you can go right here for support at the Onyx DAO. Oh, cool. T.me Onyx DAO. So if you have any issues, you can report there. Just in case anybody's watching this video and you have had issues. Because nothing's perfect. And if you don't speak up, you don't know. Like, if a problem happens but nobody speaks up about it, you might not ever know that a problem was there to begin with, right? Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if anybody has any problems, this is your avenue to go through that. I haven't had any problems myself. I would imagine most problems are probably user issues, not protocol issues, but you never know. And even if it is a user issue, they'll help you out. You know what I mean? Maybe it is something simple that they can fix. Because I've had people try to tell me that they've lost their coins staking, that they didn't get them back, and I have no problem doing it. And there's one guy that I actually talked to. I'm not going to put his name out there because I don't want to put him on blast. I don't know if he still watches this channel or not, because this was like probably about a year ago, maybe about half a year ago. He was telling me that he lost his coins staking, and we figured out that what he did was he sent his coins to the wrong wallet. He sent it to a scam wallet. He got scammed, unfortunately. Not from Onyx, but from just a random wallet that sent him OnyxCoin, like a duplicate OnyxCoin that wasn't OnyxCoin. He sent it back. He basically lost it. He sent it to the wrong wallet address. He got it mixed up. So user error. And that reminds me too, be very careful, guys, right? I like to stake. I'm staking my coins. I'm getting free coins every single day, right? At this point, if you're staking 1 million coins, you should be getting about like 700 to 800 coins a day, something like that. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but if OnyxCoin goes to $1, it's like $700 to $800 a day that you could be making in staking rewards, right? Just like extra passive income. If it goes to $1, if it goes to 50 cents, well, then it's like $350 to $400 a day. If it goes to 10 cents, then it's like $70 to $80 a day. It's still good money, right? But before you stake, before you send your funds to any kind of wallet that's new, Even if it's a wallet you've done before, but it's been a second, maybe it's been a week, maybe it's been a month, always do dummy transactions. Always do dummy transactions. Always do dummy transactions. Send $1. Send $10, somewhere in there, right? Whatever a dummy transaction is to you. Yes, you pay more in fees for transactions, but who cares? The fees are so cheap. It's a lot cheaper to spend fees than it is to lose your ass because you sent it to the wrong address or a scam wallet, right? Make sure it gets to where it's supposed to go. If it gets there with the small amount, then the large amount is safe. I have never, ever, not once in my 10 years of doing crypto, have I ever made the mistake of sending my crypto to the improper wallet. And that's because I am absurdly tenacious with the steps it takes to send from one place to another. Okay. It won't always be like that in crypto, and things are getting, especially with scanning QR codes, things are getting, maybe if you scan a QR code, you don't need to do a test transaction, obviously. Do be aware though, like if you're scanning QR codes that you can trust, it's fine. But like if you're watching a YouTube channel and somebody throws out a QR code, maybe don't scan it. Don't scan it. Those are typically scams. Typically, not always, but typically. Use your best judgment. Anyways, hit the like button, subscribe, avoid losing your ass. Just be diligent. And if you have lost your ass or you have questions, you can always hit them up here. Okay. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye, my friends.